Hello Year 10s. Welcome to our second unit for this term. It is on well-being. I want you to take a minute and think about what well-being means to you. Brainstorm some of your ideas. Is it having everything you want? Is it having the basic necessities of life? Is it having all of your human rights? Is it being free and safe? Is it having access to education, healthcare, and the means to make a living? Is it having job satisfaction, optimism, deep relationships, and a sense of wellness? Or is it just being happy? Which of these statements do you think covers what well-being is? Human well-being is defined as the quality of life of a population. This can be measured by objective indicators, for example, life expectancy, educational attainment and income, or by subjective measures of how people perceive the quality of their life as revealed by surveys of happiness. The quality of life is the key part. The definition says the well-being is an assessment of how good someone's life is and that it can be measured. To measure it, you would use objective indicators, which is quantitative data that can be counted. For example, you can count the number of people there are in a population and how many of them have access to a safe water supply. Subjective indicators are qualitative. They cannot be counted and are generally based on feelings and perception about a person's quality of life, such as happiness. Let's look at another definition of well-being. This definition states that well-being is more than the absence of illness or pathology, subjective and objective dimensions. It can be measured at the level of individuals or society. It accounts for elements of life satisfaction that cannot be defined, explained, or primarily influenced by economic growth. This is basically saying that well-being is not just about people being healthy or having money. It is complicated and includes things to do with being satisfied with your life that are difficult to explain or measure. Well-being is often referred to as the quality of life. Quality of life is defined by the World Health Organization as an individual's perception of their position in life in the context of the culture and value systems in which they live and in relation to their goals, expectations, standards and concerns. It is a broad-ranging concept, affected in a complex way by a person's physical health, psychological state, personal beliefs, social relationships and their relationship to salient features of their environment. This means that your quality of life or well-being depends on your own perception of how good your life is, the culture and values that are important to you, and your goals, expectations, standards and concerns. So can it be said that well-being depends on how the individual views their quality of life? So everyone's perception of well-being is not the same. Let's look at some examples. Do you think this child views well-being or quality of life the same as this child? We can certainly tell that one child lives in a wealthier family than the other, but remember, we discovered that well-being is not all about money. So can we tell which child is healthier, which child is better educated, and which child feels happier with their lives? A child in Afghanistan, for example, may feel emotionally well and happy despite a poor diet, but a well-fed person in Australia may feel emotionally unwell or unhappy. So, if well-being means different things to different people, on what do you base your perception of well-being? It is based on your culture and the things you value. To the vast majority of the world, what people value the most is having the basic necessities of life. For those of us who already have that, we tend to take it for granted, and instead we value having luxuries such as electronic equipment and cars. This influences our goals and expectations. The majority of people in the world strive to have a roof over their head and food in their stomachs. If they achieve this, they will have a sense of well-being. While in other countries, you would feel like you had a poor quality of life if this was all you had. What's your perception of well-being? How many of these things would you need to have to make you feel that you had a good quality of life? Would you need an adequate food supply, a clean water supply, clothing and shelter, access to healthcare, access to an education, a feeling of freedom and safety, a feeling of happiness and optimism, a fancy house, latest gadgets, overseas travel, basic luxuries such as a car and a computer and a TV. The next slide will look at a video and some different ideas of well-being.
What matters most to you? Wealth or health? Happiness or schools? Is clean air as important as personal safety? Does your age, your gender, or your income level affect your choices? At the OECD, we believe there is more to life than cold economic statistics. Our Better Life Index has enabled people from all over the world to express what is most important to their lives. Their responses show that people in Latin America, eager for their children to have the best opportunities, are more likely to rate education as the most important out of 11 life factors. In North America, life satisfaction and work-life balance are top priorities. While in Europe, the main concerns are health, education and the environment. People in the Asia-Pacific region rate safety as a high priority, including in Japan. How can we close the gap between being safe and feeling safe? In Australia, a land of wild outback and stunning beaches, but also long working hours, people worry most about their work-life balance. Gender and age affects preferences. Men tend to assign more importance to income, while women give more value to work-life balance and community. Money and happiness are paramount for young people, while the environment, civic engagement and health become more important with age. It's clear that a young boy in India won't have the same priorities as an elderly woman in Norway. But the more we listen to what people want, the more we can do to make better policies for better lives. The Better Life Index is a way to tell your government what you want. More than 110,000 users in 180 countries and territories have shared their views on what makes for a better life. Make your voice heard. Put yourself on the map.
There are other factors that affect human well-being. They include environmental factors such as climate, land quality and availability of fresh water, our natural resources, and where we live. Our social factors such as population size and growth, cultural norms such as gender roles, and economic factors such as our trade laws and our access to trade routes. Also, our historical factors, looking at our colonial past and past conflicts. Political factors, including the stability of our country, level of corruption, wars and civil conflict. And lastly, technological factors: mechanisation, access to electricity, and access to the internet. What I would like you to do now is read the stimulus sheet that came with this lesson called Introduction to Development and Wellbeing, and along with the concepts that you have learnt on the slideshow, complete the worksheet Development and Wellbeing Activities. And that is it for this lesson. See you, Year 10s.